Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the studio. You're tuning in to Episode 5 of Module 4 of the Blueprint for Effortless English. I'm your co-host, Ben.
And I'm Anna. Welcome back, everyone. We're officially halfway through Module 4. This real-world architecture module has been absolutely incredible so far. You guys are picking up these advanced corporate skills so quickly.
You really are. We've completely overhauled your professional communication. In Episode 1, we tackled code switching for the office. In Episode 2, you learned how to survive and hold your ground in high-pressure executive meetings.
In Episode 3, we gave you the psychological framework for persuasion and influence. You learned how to plant ideas and use the we framework to get people on board with your vision. And in our last episode, we talked about giving natural feedback. You learned how to correct someone's mistake diplomatically by dropping the word you and focusing on moving forward.
We've covered teamwork, influence, and feedback. But today, we're entering a completely different arena. Today, we're talking about what happens when you sit across from someone and money, contracts, or serious resources are on the line. Today, we're diving into the language of negotiation.
Before we give you the exact phrases native speakers use to win deals, we have our usual quick favor to ask. If you're serious about mastering these advanced business scenarios and you want to support this 50-episode course, please hit that like button and subscribe to the English Chatcast channel.
Your support means everything to us. It helps the channel grow and pushes these lessons out to other ambitious professionals who want to completely master the English language. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey.
Let's talk about negotiation, Ben. For most English learners, negotiation is a terrifying concept. They picture a really aggressive scene from a Hollywood movie, two guys in suits screaming at each other across a boardroom table, banging their fists and making ruthless demands.
That's the stereotype, but it's completely false. In the real corporate world, if you act like an aggressive movie character during a negotiation, you aren't going to get the deal. You're just going to ruin the relationship and they'll walk away.
Exactly. Real negotiation in American and British business culture is not a battle. It's a collaborative problem-solving exercise. You have something I want, I have something you want, and we need to find the linguistic middle ground where we both feel like we won.
And finding that middle ground requires a very specific set of vocabulary. If you use basic, direct English, you're going to sound rigid and stubborn. You need to use advanced softening phrases, conditional logic, and strategic pacing.
Today, we're breaking this down into 4 pillars. Pillar number 1 is anchoring your position. Pillar number 2 is the soft pushback. Pillar number 3 is the conditional trade, and pillar number 4 is strategic silence.
Let's start with pillar number 1, anchoring your position. The anchor is the first number or the first specific demand that gets dropped onto the table. It sets the starting line for the entire conversation.
The biggest mistake non-native speakers make is dropping their anchor too aggressively. If you're negotiating a salary for a new job, you can't just walk in and say, "I want $90,000.
I want makes it sound like a childish demand. It's a brick wall. Native speakers never present their anchor as a rigid fact. We present it as an expectation or a target. We use soft, exploratory verbs.
The absolute best native phrase for dropping a financial anchor is, "We were hoping to be in the ballpark of..."
We were hoping to be in the ballpark of $90,000. Let's unpack that, because it's brilliant. We were hoping softens the demand by making it sound like a polite wish, and in the ballpark of is a massive native idiom.
A ballpark figure means an approximate number. When you say you want to be in the ballpark of 90,000, you're telling them that 90 is your target, but you're admitting that there is flexibility. You aren't locking the door, you're keeping it open.
Another fantastic anchoring phrase is, based on the scope of work, we were looking at a figure closer to...
We were looking at a figure closer to... Let's say a vendor offers you a service for $10,000, but you only want to pay $8,000. You don't say, I will only pay $8,000. You say, based on our budget, we were looking at a figure closer to $8,000.
It's so smooth. You're gently pulling their number down toward your number without making it a violent collision.
You can also use the phrase, our target number is. If a recruiter asks what salary you need, you say, my target number for this role is 90,000. The word target implies that you're aiming for it, but it sounds professional and objective.
Once the anchor is dropped, the other person has to react. And usually their reaction is going to be a rejection. They're going to tell you your number is too high or your offer is too low. This brings us to pillar number 2, the soft pushback.
Knowing how to say no without actually saying the word no is the true secret of English negotiation. The word no kills the momentum. It makes people defensive. You have to reject their offer while keeping the conversation alive.
If someone gives you a price that's way too high, you never say, that's too expensive. Expensive is an emotional word. It sounds like you're complaining.
Instead, you blame your budget. You say, that number is a bit outside of our current budget constraints.
That number is a bit outside of our current budget constraints. It's completely neutral. You're essentially saying, hey, I'd love to pay you that much, but the math just doesn't work. It's not a personal rejection.
I'm not sure we can make those numbers work.
I'm not sure we can make those numbers work. That is an absolute classic. Notice the hesitation. You aren't saying we can't do it. You're saying, I'm not sure we can. It invites them to help you solve the problem. It invites them to lower their price.
If their proposal includes terms that you absolutely cannot accept, you use the phrase, that's going to be a tough sell on our end.
Oh, a tough sell. That's a brilliant corporate idiom. It means it will be very difficult to convince my boss or my team to agree to this. You're shifting the blame to an invisible third party. You're saying, I like your idea, but my manager will never approve it.
That feels a bit steep for what we're discussing.
A bit steep. Steep is the professional, polite replacement for expensive or unreasonable. You can say, their asking price is a bit steep. Let's see if they have any wiggle room.
Which perfectly introduces our next concept. Wiggle room. You'll hear this phrase in almost every informal negotiation. Wiggle room means flexibility.
When you give them a soft pushback, you almost always follow it up by asking for wiggle room. You say, that number is a bit outside of our budget. Is there any wiggle room on the price?
Or you could ask, how flexible are you on that timeline? Asking about flexibility is the polite way of asking them to make a concession.
That brings us to pillar number 3, the conditional trade. Negotiation is not just about bringing the price down. It's about trading value. If I give up something, you have to give up something.
To communicate this clearly, native speakers rely heavily on the word if. We use conditional sentences to link our concessions to their concessions. You never give something away for free.
The magic formula is, if you can do X, then we would be willing to do Y.
If you can extend the contract to 12 months, then we'd be willing to lower the monthly fee by 10%.
That is a perfect conditional trade. You're offering them the lower price they want, but only if they give you the longer commitment you want.
You can also use the phrase, assuming we can agree on. Assuming we can agree on the delivery date, I think we can meet your target price.
Assuming we can agree is a fantastic framing tool. It forces them to focus on the easy part of the deal before tackling the hard part.
If you're at a standstill and you need to offer a compromise, you use the phrase, "What if we meet in the middle?"
Meet in the middle, or meet halfway. This is the universal phrase for splitting the difference. They want 10,000, you want 8,000. You say, "What if we meet in the middle at 9,000?" It sounds fair and logical.
Another powerful trading phrase is, "I can't do X, but what I can do is Y."
I love this one because it's so positive. If someone asks for a discount you can't give, you say, "I can't drop the price any further, but what I can do is throw in free shipping for the first year." You're replacing the missing value with a different type of value.
When you're negotiating, you're constantly looking for ways to balance the scales. The conditional trade allows you to be firm on your boundaries while still sounding incredibly accommodating.
But what happens when you've made your offer, you've offered your trades, and you hit a wall? What happens when you drop your final anchor? This brings us to pillar number 4, strategic silence.
This is the hardest pillar for language learners to master, but it is the most powerful. When you're nervous speaking English, silence feels terrifying. You feel an overwhelming urge to fill the empty space with filler words, apologies, or worse, immediate concessions.
Exactly. You say, "My target salary is 90,000. The recruiter doesn't say anything for 3 seconds. You panic and say, "But I could probably do 85 if that's easier." You just negotiated against yourself. You lost $5,000 because you couldn't handle 3 seconds of silence.
Strategic silence means being comfortable with the pause. When you state your anchor, or when you ask a tough conditional question, you must stop talking. You have to let the ball sit on their side of the court.
You state your price, you close your mouth, and you wait. The silence creates a gentle psychological pressure on the other person to respond. In Western business culture, the first person to speak after a long pause usually loses leverage.
If they give you an offer that's disappointingly low, don't react immediately. Don't say no. Just look at the proposal, nod slowly, and stay completely silent for 5 seconds. Let them feel the weight of your disappointment. Often they will start talking and negotiate against themselves just to break the tension.
Let's review the 4 pillars before we put them into practice. Pillar 1, anchoring. We were hoping to be in the ballpark of... Pillar 2, the soft pushback. That's a bit outside our budget constraints. Pillar 3, the conditional trade. If you can do X, we can do Y. And Pillar 4, strategic silence.
It's time to demonstrate this with a real-world roleplay. Ben and I are going to simulate a tense but professional salary negotiation.
Let's pretend Anna is the hiring manager for a tech company. I'm a job candidate who just received a job offer. The offer she sent me is $80,000, but my target number is $95,000.
That's a huge gap. I want you to listen closely to how Ben tries to pull my number up. He isn't going to be aggressive. He's going to use soft pushbacks, conditional trades, and you'll even hear him use a moment of strategic silence.
And listen to how Anna defends her budget. She won't just say a flat no. She'll use the professional idioms we've been teaching you. Here we go. Step into the negotiation room.
Hey, Ben. Thanks for jumping on the call. I hope you had a chance to review the offer letter we sent over yesterday. We're really excited about the prospect of having you join the team.
Thanks, Anna. I'm really excited about the opportunity as well. The team seems fantastic, and I love the direction the product is heading. I did review the offer, and I wanted to chat about the base salary component.
Sure. The offer is currently sitting at $80,000. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, based on my market research and the level of strategic planning this role requires, I was hoping to be in a ballpark closer to $95,000.
I appreciate you sharing your research, Ben. 95 is a bit steep for this specific tier. That number is outside of our current budget constraints for a new hire in this department.
I completely understand you have budget parameters you need to work within. Is there any wiggle room on that baseline figure at all?
We do have a little bit of flexibility. I could potentially bump the base up to $85,000, but that's going to be a hard stop for me on the cash side. It's a tough sell to go any higher right now.
I see. 85,000. What if we explored a conditional structure? If I can agree to the 85,000 base, would you be willing to guarantee a performance review at the 6-month mark with a path to a $10,000 bump if I hit all my initial KPIs?
That's an interesting proposition. I can't guarantee an automatic $10,000 bump, but what I can do is write a 6-month review clause into your contract with a guaranteed salary renegotiation based on performance.
Assuming we can get that clause clearly defined in the contract, I think we can make those numbers work.
Excellent. I'll have HR draft the updated contract with that review clause and send it over to you this afternoon. We're thrilled to have you on board, Ben.
Thanks, Anna. Looking forward to it.
And scene. That was a masterclass in corporate negotiation.
It felt incredibly realistic. Let's break down the exact mechanics we just used to bridge a $15,000 gap without ever raising our voices.
Ben started flawlessly. He didn't just complain about the $80,000. He used the perfect anchor phrase. He said, "Based on my research, I was hoping to be in a ballpark closer to $95,000.
And Anna gave me a classic soft pushback. She didn't say, "You're crazy." She said, "95 is a bit steep, and it's outside our current budget constraints." She blamed the budget.
But Ben didn't give up. He asked for wiggle room. He said, "Is there any wiggle room on that baseline figure?"
And Anna made a concession. She bumped it to 85, but she set a boundary. She used the phrase, "That's going to be a hard stop for me." A hard stop means absolutely no further movement. It's the limit.
After I gave him the 85 and set my hard stop, Ben used strategic silence. He literally just said, "I see," repeated the number, and stopped talking.
I let the silence hang there for a few seconds to show I wasn't thrilled, but I didn't panic. Instead, I pivoted to the conditional trade. I used the if-then structure.
He said, "If I can agree to the 85 base, would you be willing to guarantee a 6-month review with a pay bump?" He traded his salary demand for a timeline demand.
Anna used a beautiful counter trade. She said, "I can't guarantee the automatic bump, but what I can do is guarantee the renegotiation meeting."
And we finally closed the deal when Ben used the assuming phrase. Assuming we can get that clause defined, we can make those numbers work. It was a perfect compromise. We both gave a little, and we both won.
When you have this vocabulary in your toolkit, negotiation actually becomes fun. It stops being a scary confrontation and becomes a strategic game of chess. You know exactly which pieces to move.
You protect your value, you respect their budget, and you build a reputation as someone who is tough but incredibly fair and professional to work with.
Which brings us to your mission for Episode 5. It's time for you to practice your pushbacks and your trades.
Your homework for this week is the Counter Offer Challenge. We're going to give you a scenario. You're a freelance graphic designer. A client emails you and offers you $500 for a massive project. Your normal rate is $800.
You cannot accept the $500, but you don't want to lose the client. Your mission is to write an email reply. You need to use a soft pushback to reject the $500 and then use a conditional trade to offer a compromise.
Maybe you offer to do the project for $650. Or maybe you say, if you can reduce the number of revisions, then I can do it for $600. Get creative.
Come down into the comments section of this episode and type out your exact response. Use phrases like a bit steep, outside my constraints, wiggle room, and if you can do X, I can do Y. We want to see your negotiation skills in action.
You guys are absolutely leveling up. You've conquered the boardroom, you've learned to persuade, you've mastered feedback, and now you know how to negotiate like a seasoned executive.
Your formal high-stakes communication is looking incredibly polished, but corporate life isn't just about meetings and contracts. A huge part of your career success depends on what happens in the break room, the cafeteria, and the company happy hour.
That's right. The informal side of the office can be just as difficult to navigate as the formal side. And that's exactly what we're covering in our next episode. In episode 6, we're diving into socializing with coworkers.
We're going to teach you how to build genuine relationships with your colleagues, how to navigate water cooler talk without crossing professional boundaries, and how to gracefully escape a networking event when you're exhausted.
It's all about mastering the gray area between friendship and professionalism. You absolutely won't want to miss it.
But for today, focus on your leverage. Anchor softly, push back politely, trade conditionally, and embrace the silence.
I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
If you're ready to win your next negotiation and get the salary you deserve, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let's keep upgrading this real-world architecture. Until next time, keep practicing, keep listening, and remember, learning English with us is
a piece of cake. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time on the English Chatcast.